Hello everyone, this is Dan again. Hey, this is actually week 13, actually the final lesson for the winter semester, our session. So actually in our session today, we're going to be talking about Jesus heals Bartimaeus. So Bartimaeus was actually a blind individual. We're certainly talking about the story today, and then we'll ask a few questions, and we have an exercise to finish up our lesson today. I'm certainly hoping everyone's having a good week. So the weather certainly a wonderful time as far as seeing that we're getting into the 40-degree temperatures. Hopefully you guys haven't certainly broke out your shorts and flip-flops yet. But we certainly look forward as far as the spring kicking in, and we're going to start seeing warmer temperatures. I'm sure we're going to see some colder temperatures nonetheless, and probably some more snow before we see the end. So let's go ahead and start with our story. We're talking about Bartimaeus. It says story title on here as far as for my book, as far as all of us and Bible stories. I Want to See is the title of the story. As Jesus was leaving Jericho, together with his disciples and a sizable crowd, a blind beggar called Bartimaeus, Timaeus' son, was sitting beside the road. When he heard Jesus of Nazareth was there, he began to shout, "Jesus, Son of David, show me mercy." Many scolded him, telling him to be quiet. But he shouted even louder, "Son of David, show me mercy." Jesus stopped and said, "Call him forward." They called the blind man. "Be encouraged. Get up, he's calling you." Throwing his cloak to his side, he jumped up and came to Jesus. Jesus asked him, What do you want me to do for you?" The blind man said, "Teacher, I want to see." Jesus said, "Go, your faith has healed you." At once he was able to see and began to follow Jesus on the way. As I said, the story was very short. So what are your thoughts? A blind man turning and within minutes can see. Now, thinking about that, blind, well, depending upon it, certainly sounded like he was blind from birth, and certainly there are some questions as far as what the situation that Bartimaeus was really in. I know that when I was reading through the materials that we have for this week, it was really kind of saying, gee, Bartimaeus was certainly in a sorry situation. Certainly, if his family, it certainly mentions it in the story about his family, but it really doesn't seem that he has much of a relationship, and he's actually a beggar sitting on the streets, and he's actually all alone. So it's really a sad situation and where he comes from. And so it really is on the same token, it kind of says what people were thinking about people who were beggars, or those people who had handicaps at that point in time. They were kind of second-rate individuals, which is kind of sad, and certainly those are the people that Jesus was really there and to help out along the way here. So as usual, I have a few questions as far as to maybe dig a little deeper to what you're thinking what Bartimaeus was going on. I wonder how Bartimaeus knew that Jesus was passing by. That's a very good point. What do you think? I know we were thinking about it. People were certainly excited, and the large crowds followed Jesus around everywhere. So maybe actually he's listening to the people in the crowd. Maybe they're certainly talking about Jesus and the miraculous things he's done. Maybe they really were maybe because he was actually by himself. So maybe he was really kind of in tune to things that were going on around him. Or maybe even actually heard that Jesus was speaking. So maybe those are some real answers about that. So the next one is, why would you think, I wonder why people tried to get Bartimaeus to be quiet when he was calling out to Jesus? Again, like I said, I really think that people at that point in time really didn't think much of those people that were second or people who had handicaps. In Jesus' time or around Jesus' time, people were thought that actually if they had handicaps, if they had a lame leg, if they weren't able to speak or able to hear, they were saying that their parents, if they're born that way, that their parents had sinned. If they went that way, it was the sin that they had in themselves that actually caused them to have that type of thing. So with Jesus, it really was, again, many times he says, your faith has healed you. So really, Jesus, in the fact that he was able to forgive people, it certainly was an opportunity for people to see that that sin was no more, and actually they were able to heal them. So in a way, I guess you could say Jesus was forgiving that sin. But even today, we certainly understand that many times people are just born that way. And that's, even in Jesus' time, it was just kind of, I don't know if you want to call it superstition, but maybe that's how people saw things and how the world was functioning in their time. And certainly not knowing, sometimes things certainly get misconstrued or misconceived by other individuals. People put what they know into practice, and they certainly come up with theories upon themselves as far as why things happen in the world. And certainly that could be part of it. And the last one is, I wonder what it was like to see after being blind. Yeah, as I was said earlier, as babies, we see different things and we learn different items and able to function as we see. A blind person has almost like a different sense. They're able to hear and perceive things around them in a different sense. They're able to move and balance in a different way. Now you're throwing another sense in there, sight. And now, you're able to see. You now have all this knowledge that you need to gain as far as colors, different shapes, relating different objects to what you were hearing before. And yet, Bartimaeus was actually able to get up and actually follow Jesus with the rest of the crowd. So it's really quite a miracle to think about that. It's really much more than just somebody to be able to see and from a blindness. So sometimes, and we certainly can say, it'd be much easier if a person maybe became blind along the way. But we really don't know in this story. It really doesn't say that to us. It certainly doesn't share much as far as the family membership as well. And so we certainly can't say. But let me tell you, my knowledge of medicine and my background, I certainly know that there's a lot more to seeing and understanding what you're seeing than actually what literally meets the eye, right? Okay, so that is our story for today. I certainly hope that was kind of an encouraging story. That came from Mark 10. So if you really want to read the story out of the Bible, I actually really was quite surprised. I pulled the story up this evening or today, and found it was really quite a short story, and it was actually a story just before the story of Jesus entering the city of Jerusalem. And we certainly kind of understand that's leading into the our time frame, into our Lent season, and then moving into Easter. Well, of course, the crucifixion and then the Easter. So I don't want to forget about the portions of what God really did for us. So let's go ahead and move on to our book, our Spotlight magazine. And let's go ahead and open up to page 29. And we're going to be talking about the page 29 that says here, how can I help? Well, it certainly goes along with what we were talking today's story. We certainly, that's exactly what Jesus had said to Bartimaeus. What do you want me to do for you? And so let's go ahead and ask that question. Many times we come around, we have friends and family, but really, do we, I have to say, I think we went back to that conversation that we had the last session. Sometimes it thinks about me, and we really should be thinking about those around us and how we can do that. So, how can I help? So, we can respond to people's requests for help just as Jesus did. What kind of a helper are you? Let's take a quiz to find out. So, let's start off with the first one it says here. Your little sister is sick. What would you do to help? A, read her a story so she doesn't feel so bored. B, make her some hot tea with honey to help her sore throat. C, sit and talk with her and let her complain about being sick as much as she wants. Wow. What do you think would be the best answer if you look at that? I don't know if there's really a best answer, Because, I mean, really, it's just a matter of what your opinion on that is. So let's go ahead and take a listen to those answers again and responses. Would you read her a story so she doesn't feel so bored? Or would you make some hot tea with honey to help her sore throat? Or sit and talk with her and let her complain about being sick as much as she wants? I don't know. I would have to say that I'm probably one of those action kind of guys. I would, if she had a sore throat, I'd probably go and make some hot tea with honey. And that's probably what I would do. But that's just me. Like I said, I'm an action kind of guy, and I don't have a problem going and doing things for other people. But the other answers are pretty good too. How about this one? Your best friend's grandmother just died. What would you do to help? Wow, that's a real sad one there. Would you give your friend a hug and invite him to play outside? B, make a card to tell your friend that you are thinking about him? Or C, ask your friend to tell you about his grandmother? Wow. That's kind of, again, very good answers. What would you do? Certainly giving a hug and inviting them to be hanging out with you certainly would be a good way of doing that. So that's an excellent answer if you thought that. Making a card to tell your friend that you are thinking about him. Sometimes some people are just not those outgoing people, and maybe not a hugger, or certainly doesn't, and really is afraid to reach out to people sometimes. Really making a card and making the considered effort to let people know that you care certainly is a helpful tool as well. All right. And lastly, ask your friend to tell you about your grandma. You'd think that would be a kind of a difficult situation, but many times that can be very reaching out and very sympathetic for individuals and really allow them to share their emotions and make them feel better as well. So, sometimes going to a funeral is not an easy thing, but as somebody told me, it's important that you do go and really support those individuals that are friends and family. So let's keep that in mind as well. So lastly, we are on the playground and a classmate falls and scrapes her knee. What would you do to help? Well, the options are help your classmate get up and offer to go inside with her to wash off her knee. That's a good choice. B, find your friend an adhesive bandage with her favorite movie character. Well, there you go. That's kind of a cute one. I think I probably would like to look at maybe Pokemon one. There you go. Yeah, right. I mean, Pokemon's, right? Or listen to your classmate tell you how much it hurts and not make fun of her. Well, okay, so thinking of the answers that you students said, A, B, and C on each of these questions. On the bottom it says, if you choose mostly A's, you like to help through doing. So those are the kind of things I like to do. B, if you choose mostly B, you like to help through giving. So I guess maybe I have to say that I might be thinking, wow, I guess I really like to do a lot of different things. Because I'm certainly an action kind of person, but I certainly do like giving things to people. Or last one is C's. If you did mostly C's, you like to help through listening. And again, like I said, that is an important factor too. It's certainly just as important as actually doing things and or giving things. And so it really does, like I said, all of them are wonderful answers. It's just how you feel about what is the right response. So, having said that, so think about your answers and think about how those really are really wonderful answers. It's just a matter that how you actually respond to people and how to help them out. So, again, that is our final lesson for our winter session. I certainly hope that you are doing well in school. I certainly hope you're staying healthy and your family's staying healthy and everything's going well for you. And certainly look forward to working with you and teaching in the future. All right. Have a great week. Bye.